My name is Bruno Carneiro. I'm 26 years old. I've been racing for 21 years now, which is a long time. Basically my whole life, my whole personality is motorsports. Excited to talk a little bit about Rodizio Grill's involvement in my life and my career. I mean, I've been referred to by many people as the Rodizio kid, if that means anything. So I'd say a lot of my career would not be possible without the help of Rodizio Grill and Ivan Utrera. I've known Ivan for about 22 or 23 years now, which is also crazy to think about. You know, he's always been a very big supporter of mine, always been really believing in me, probably more than I did at some points in my life. And, you know, without the support and the trust that Ivan has given me and that Rodizio Grill has given me as a whole, even, you know, all the employees. I've worked at Rodizio Grill a couple times as a meat server as well. So having the coworkers side of it, having, you know, Ivan up front, the managers and everything, it's been a very big family environment. And, you know, for the past 21 years that I've been racing, it's been constant support, and they've genuinely made, you know, the life that I live now and the career that I have now a possibility, just through Ivan's generosity and trust in me, like I said, for that first day that he bought me my first go-kart ever and on till today. Yeah, so my dad still does and used to back then work for Rodizio Grill. You know, I had to go with my dad to work a couple times, and so I met Ivan, and, you know, being a little toddler that can be annoying, making weird noises. I guess it was noticed that I was using the salt and pepper shakers that were on the table back then as basically like race cars. So I was making race car noises and Bruno. And, you know, it was picked up by Ivan, and he would notice it often and just kind of realize that I had this bug and this fix for motorsports. You know, I'd been to a few Formula One Grand Prix at that point. My dad was a very big Formula One fan, as was my grandpa. So, you know, I grew up watching Formula One. I grew up watching Speed Channel. I remember Speed Channel before it doesn't exist anymore, really. But yeah, motorsports was always such a big thing in my life, and I was just fascinated at how a car could go that fast. Not just, you know, straight line, it was the mechanical aspect of it. I couldn't fathom how, you know, a car could stick to the ground that fast, especially when watching Formula One. And, you know, at that time I was watching Barrichello and Schumacher and Fernando Alonso, and it was all the greats of the time. Unfortunately, I never got to watch Senna, but it just drew me in. When I was born, you know, I had a little race suit with my name on it that's probably this tall and fit me as a baby. So I always had motorsports around me, but I really just grew this amazing passion for it from a very young age. And going back to the original story, when I was at Rodizio, you know, I carried on playing with the salt and pepper shakers. Ivan noticed it, saw that I was passionate. And I guess it's a little embarrassing to admit that until the age of 12, I probably was still doing the same things. And I'd cut paper plates and use the paper plates edges as curbing. And I'd use my little Matchbox and Hot Wheels cars as you know, like toy cars, and literally race them on countertops because I'm just so car crazy. And so yeah, Ivan noticed the passion was there at a young age. He believed in me, he invested in me, and, you know, he surprised me with a go-kart for the first time. There's a little 50cc Comer engine that maybe would go 40 miles an hour, and I found 40 miles an hour pretty quickly. Didn't take too long. So yeah, from the start, from meeting Ivan to, you know, the purchase of the go-kart, and till then, it's always been a very supportive atmosphere and experience with Rodizio overall, and you know, primarily with Ivan. I think very unique to what happened with Rodizio Grill and I, and a lot of the reason why I'm like the Rodizio kid is because Ivan wanted me to kind of learn the value of money. And you know, at the time I didn't see too much of it. I kind of saw, I was like, oh, I got a job now. Looking back on it, I was actually talking to a client earlier today about, you know, the aspect of knocking on door to door, and how much that's helped my social skills, and how much that's helped me just make connections in this world that is literally all about who you know and where you meet those people. So as, you know, I started progressing in motorsports and kind of realizing that this is what I want to do with my life. I really want to dig deep. I want to go travel worldwide. I want to eventually get into cars. You know, Ivan said, I want you to work for it a little bit, and he would give me these gift certificates. And the gift certificates were kind of like a way to raise money for myself. I would go door to door. I would go to the racetrack out at different events, and I would, you know, sell, try to put my name out there, say, hey, I'm this, you know, up and coming 7-year-old driver trying to go to Grand Nationals next weekend, and wherever it was, North Carolina. So I always like trying to pitch myself in a sense, and it was kind of a 50-50 split. I would keep, there were $25 certificates, so I'd keep $12.50 or whatever the math is, and he would keep the other one that would stay with Rodizio. And after a few months of actually realizing that I was all for it and I was actually going out basically every night, he realized that I was taking it seriously, and he actually, kept every $12.50 from each certificate that I sold. He would keep it with him. And after a few months of realizing that I was taking it seriously and that I wanted to make this happen, he had that saved up. It was kind of like a down payment almost back to me. And it was just it was another level of like generosity in a sense, because there was no like, how can I keep a little bit of money out of this from Bruno? It was just, I'm helping Bruno, like that was it. And so it's a really, really special feeling. And I mean, it was great at the moment. And from then on, it became, I'd keep 100% of the profits. And it was kind of like motivation to keep me working. And as between the ages of, I think it was probably 7 years old until 13, I was making like $200 a night selling certificates, and it actually, it was well worth it. I didn't go to prom, I didn't go to homecoming. It was like all I focused on was just trying to raise money so that I could get on the track. And it paid great dividends. It helped me a lot just to meet people. It helped me to get my name out there. I still have Facebook friends that are people that would just like almost religiously buy from me every year. I'd get, messages like, hey, are you coming through the neighborhood this weekend? And, it definitely made my story a little bit special. I wasn't just another driver. It was, a driver that's really going after it, but it was an opportunity that was created by Ivan's thinking. And, I sit back today and I'm beyond grateful for it. I wouldn't change it for the world. Probably slap myself a couple more times to go out more than I did, just because, it's a lot of connections that I made and a lot of experiences that I've learned that have made me kind of get to the point where I am now in my life, and I'm forever thankful for it. And like I said, it goes back to the idea of not just giving me money. And when we're going to big races and teams are buying for the whole dinner or for the whole team to go out, it like really helped me out in my space. But I think it also gave back a little bit to Rodizio, because I have my stickers on the car. I'm talking about Rodizio all the time, so people are constantly thinking about it. And even if it's not, they bought a certificate from me, they see me and they're thinking about, let me go eat it. I'm craving Rodizio. I'm gonna go eat at Rodizio. So that's where the term, the Rodizio kid came from, and the little sales guy and whatnot. So actually one of the most important sale I guess I did was back in 2015 at the end of the season. I had just finished the local NASA Utah Region Championship in my Formula Mazda. Great year, like really strong year, my first year in cars. And I happened to go fundraise because we were done for the weekend, so I had some free time. It was a pretty big event that weekend was, so I went out and started fundraising a little bit for, to try to make a little bit extra money. And I actually happened to run into a gentleman that goes by Chairman Lee, and he was actually the principal of Geely Automotive Group, which is like Volvo overseas in China. And lo and behold, they were, in the process of buying the track here in Utah. And they basically said that, they were impressed that I was going out and working hard. They asked about what I was that I raced. They found out I just had won the championship. So it kind of all just really worked well together. And from there, they basically said they would like a spokesperson of a kind, just to represent Utah Motorsports Campus at the time is what it was called. And take me overseas to China, take me as like their little spokesperson. I was going to do the final race of the Formula 4 Championship, and that's kind of where my whole international career blossomed. That's where the pillows of me were made. That's where that whole like saga of Formula car racing and getting out in an international scene and being part of the FIA all became part of my career. And I guess it all started by like not literally but figuratively knocking on the right door and meeting the right person. So 2016 was a great year for me. We had finished pretty well at that last round that the Utah Motorsports Campus had flew me out to do with a couple podiums. So they actually called me back at the beginning of the year to do a full season in 2016 for Formula 4. And it was a great year, very strong, built a lot of confidence inside of me, met a lot of people that helped prompt me into Formula 3. I don't want to say it was the highlight, but one of the biggest things was at the end of the year going to the FIA Gala in Austria, meeting Max Verstappen, meeting my idol, my hero, Lewis Hamilton. If you ever want to see me teary-eyed. Let's go back to that moment in my life. So yeah, meeting Lewis Hamilton, meeting Toto Wolff, like all these big icons in the world of Formula One were all there at the same event that I was, getting the FIA prize trophy. So it was a really, really wonderful experience. I met the contacts that would get me into Formula 3 that next season, before jumping into Formula 3 overseas in Japan, which was a very big learning curve for me, a big year of kind of growth and maturity and how to kind of handle myself, and not only as a driver role, but also with, engineering a car, which was totally new to me. It proved to be a very tricky year, I want to say, but a lot was learned. And then obviously the experience of living overseas in Japan was one of a kind, and just, yeah.
Yesterday, 思い出したレーサー感じと今日もっと速い。
そしてカーナンバー35、6番手争い、河野俊介の後ろからブルーノ・カルレイロがついてきた。さあブルーノ・カルレイロ、河野俊介に迫っています。テルツーノーズ、最終コーナーを立ち上がってくる河野俊介も踏ん張ります。ホームストレート、さあスリップを使いましてブルーノ・カルレイロ、アウト側から行きます。前に出た、サイドバイサイド、ブルーノ・カルレイロが前に出ました。順位が入れ替わる。ブルーノ・カルレイロがこれで6番。
Yeah, 2019 was another great year, and it was another year that Rodizio really stepped up, I want to say. Obviously racing Formula 3 and Formula 4, that's a lot already. And then we went into 2019 going to run the Formula Renault Championship in Asia. We competed in China and Malaysia, and it was a big support coming from Rodizio. I was 19, 20 years old at the time, so fundraising was not really the best option. Most people would just tell me to go get a job. So it was a lot of upfront costs, so upfront money by Rodizio, by Ivan, and it prompted me to have a really successful year in 2019. It came just short of winning the championship, but we were vice champions, we like to call it. It's not runner-up, it's vice champions in the Formula Renault series. So it was, a very good competitive crowd. So, obviously having won the championship would have been ideal, but we still came away with second in the championship. Lots of wins, lots of track records through the years, and racing at tracks like Malaysia, where Formula One has competed, was really incredible. It made for a really good time, and it kind of shifted into the point of my career of where I actually began coaching at the end of 2019. I came back, kind of took a sabbatical, if you want to call it, and I, obviously COVID came after that, and that made things a lot trickier. Rodizio kind of struggled a bit, as most restaurants did in that world. We were very incentive. There's a lot of incentives and smart tactics to still stay strong in business. With doing Rodizio to go, I think it was the term. That kind of made me struggle a bit because I didn't have that backing, and a lot of doors were closed in the sense of everything being closed. And it did prompt into the opportunity of me really growing this coaching business that I've really blossomed a lot in the last few years, especially, but it really started back in 2020. Yeah, my coaching business is kind of unique. It started as a a hobby. I would say a lot of drivers in the world of motorsports, when they run out of money, it's kind of like this backup plan that they have because, you know, they're around cars and they know how to drive. And so, you know, coaching is kind of something to fall back on. And that's all it started as. You know, at the time I was still working as a server at Rodizio. I was a sushi chef at some points. I worked at motor club, you know, moving cars around and kind of managing supercars. So I was always doing something, but it was never coaching. Coaching was just on the side. There's a weekend coming up, maybe I'll see if I can find a client. That was back in 2020, 2021. And since then, it's gotten to the point where I quite literally have no time for anything else. Everything that's coaching for me in my calendar is red. And if you go look at my calendar, it's just red the whole way through. And it's gotten to a point that I never could have imagined. I'm so incredibly grateful for it. And it's gotten to the point where, you know, I have a client who may fall through and I have a backup client that I can pick up, and it's just the ability to help out all these different drivers really learn in whatever regard it is that they need to learn. If it's, you know, getting familiarized with a new track, if they want to get coached on the sim, coached on a go-kart. This morning, actually, quite literally, I was just up in a canyon here in Utah, coaching a client in his 992 GT3 RS, how to drive the car better, how to control the car better, because it is a supercar, you know? So it's just this plethora of different things. It's not just one single thing. Funny enough, and this is 100% honest, I'm going to Ivan's house after this because his sim just got delivered. And so part of my coaching is this sim build business that I have built by BCM. I have driven by BCM as the coaching because I'm driving you to be your best, so you're driven by me. And built by BCM is my coaching business. So swear to God, I'm going to Ivan's house after this. All the boxes arrived. He has a new motion sim that's all formula style that I spec'd out for him that I'm gonna go put for him as kind of like a thank you gesture in a way. And, you know, now he can go have fun at home, pretending to race cars, because I do that too. And so, yeah, it's just, it's a wide range. It's not limited to one thing. I've got, you know, basically 10 to 12 like pretty regular clients, and this year especially it's gotten to the point where, you know, I coach one person, they talk about me or they post about it, and then their friends referred to me by them, and it just keeps growing, and I'm so thankful for it. I'm working with Porsche Cayman GT4 cars, I'm working with 992 Cup cars, I'm working with something as little as Miatas, Formula 4 cars as well. So it's just this big range of things, and I feel very good in the sense that I can help a lot of people better their skills on track, and it's a way for me to keep honing my skills that I've been able to build over the years. And you know, my understanding of car control and my love for cars and being around it all day, it's hard to call it a job, but that is my job, is being a driver coach and helping people really nourish themselves and blossom in the world of motorsports and car controlling, developing them as drivers overall. This all started technically because I was using salt and pepper shakers, I guess. All started because I got a go-kart, and all started because, you know, I had the trust from Ivan, I had the trust from my dad to like put in endless hours and be there for me like no other parent would be. My mom, who would help out with catering, we would do these events at the track, kind of hosted by me. Then my mom would help pick up everything and set everything up for lunchtime. Working at JetBlue for maybe a little bit longer than she wanted to help out with flights and buddy passes so I could get overseas internationally. And my sisters as well, who after school would have to endure sitting in the car waiting for me to go fundraise, which could take up to 2-3 hours a night at least. So, you know, many factoring parties in my success and Rodizio's success and kind of the partnership we've built. People tell me, come on, keep going, keep working. And yeah, it's a lot of things that just led to make it work. And, you know, I'm definitely not done. I still want to keep growing. There's so much more I want to keep blossoming. I want to find myself back in a car. I want to keep, I mean, we got my helmet right here. It still has the Rodizio logo on it, even though I haven't like competed in a couple of years. every time I'm driving a car, doing a reference lap, I still have the Rodizio logo. So ultimate goal is to get back out and be competing, because I say I'm old at 26 because my back hurts when I wake up, but there's still time, I hope. And so yeah, keep hoping to grow and give back, I think, is the other big thing. If I owe my dad a house and, you know, Ivan some things, so. Yeah, I mean, this is a design that my dad made. This is definitely not going to fit my head, as you can tell. I've grown a little bit. But yeah, this helmet was designed by my dad, and it is basically, if you look at it, it's half of the Brazilian flag. Being Brazilian, you know, representing. There's a little bit of the touch for like Barrichello and Schumacher on the top with the stars, but it is essentially the Brazilian flag. With the, you know, the blue ball and the Ordem e Progresso, but with my name instead, because that's nifty. And then, you know, you have the green on the back, and obviously the yellow fitting in. Flames, I guess. I think they're flames because we're going so fast as a 5-year-old. But yeah, it's representative of my homeland and where I came from, because I was born in São Paulo. So it's pretty cool helmet, and I mean, there's a lot of meaning and emotion to it for sure. And then obviously the visor sticker has been on there for whatever, it's the old logo, but I don't know how long it's been on here for, like 20 years. So it's still there, and it's, you know, progressed into, you know, having become an American citizen, and my favorite color is red. The Marlboro red from like the Ayrton Senna's McLaren, it kind of turned into, you know, a new color wave. So it's not the same colors necessarily as the Brazilian flag, but the ball is still there. You know, it's a little rounded on the back, but where it's supposed to be the green on the back is still there. It's just red. Kind of had the top, you know, as a circle. So the inspiration stayed the same. I'm glad I'm not like one of those, you know, karting drivers that's got, you know, like glitter literally flicking at you when you look at it. And this one's pretty cool because it's a carbon helmet, so it's got the carbon outlet showing. And this one is special. You know, I've had all my helmets painted by Axel Fast Graphics in California. It's a great guy. I love Alex. This one is my third helmet, I believe. My third helmet painted by Sid. Sid is the one that painted Senna's helmet. So I'm not qualified enough to have the star on the side, but if you look on Senna's helmet, he has the star on the side for being world champion, and you know, the painted by Sid on this side. So this one was pretty cool, just to, you know, the story of getting the helmet painted by Sid is because I went to Brazil as like this Brazilian driver who worked his way through motorsports, and it was because of Rodizio, because I sold certificates to Rodizio, and so that found me over there. And, you know, so I met Alan, you know, because they were, I don't want to say moved, they were very like compelled by my story of, you know, how I worked my way through motorsports and trying to make my name in the world of motorsports. And so he, as an offer, as a gesture, which I was not expecting at all, you know, painted the first helmet for free. And it was like, it was an insane, you know, gift. So I had the helmet that was gifted to me by Arai as a sponsorship, sent over to Alan, and he painted the helmet. I went to go pick it up, so I got to see the whole shop, and, you know, you see the original helmets that are there that were given back by Senna. It's pretty moving, to be honest. I can't remember who I was talking about the other day. It's like talking about the movie from Senna, and like every time I watch that movie, I just break down crying because there's so much power behind it. But, you know, being at having my helmet painted in the same shop that his was painted at, and seeing his original helmets there, is just even more special. And this is a newer helmet, obviously, since that one that I'm referring to. And yeah, it's just, again, it's a lot of people that trust me. And, you know, I've often found myself in times where I don't believe in myself as much as I probably should. And just having these extra voices and these extra hands almost like pushing me along and trying to keep me supported is, it's really touching. And, you know, like the example of the Arai helmet being gifted to me by Kimura-san, you know, Alan offering to paint the helmet, Ivan, my dad, like all these different people that have helped me. And there's so many other sponsors that I could go into over the course of the years that have just believed in me. And, you know, like I said, nothing would be possible without them. So, you know, 30 years is an insane achievement. A humongous congratulations to Ivan for all the work he's put in and being able to grow the business to what it is today. You know, knowing his story from coming here from Brazil after he had something going for him, starting completely fresh, believing in it completely, and making Rodizio Grill what it is today. Like, a massive congratulations to all the managers I've pestered and worked for. Congratulations, and all those that have like stuck around, the coworkers I've been with. As a very big fan of Rodizio Grill, for the ambiance and for the food, you know, I say congratulations, and I hope to God that there's another 30 years. You know, I can't wait to be like shaking in my chair as I'm, you know, asking for some more picanha. Yeah, a big congratulations. It's an incredible achievement and milestone, having survived things like COVID, where, you know, many businesses went down. Being able to stay nifty, stay open, stay in business, stay, you know, growing and blossoming to what Rodizio Grill is today, that is really impressive. And to that I say a big congratulations, and here's to 30 more.